You are being programmed.
So the video is on the word consent, but lately this is all we're seeing of the use of the word consent. We're seeing we do not consent. Now, I wasn't prepared for what I found. And obviously this is just my interpretation of what the word that I found and broken down. So guys, just buckle up and enjoy the ride. The word today is consent. So let's look at what they say consent means. 13th century, agree, give, assent, yield, when one has the right, the power, or will oppose. From Old French consentir, agree, comply, and directly from Latin consentire, agree, accord, literally feel together, from assimilated form of com, which means together. Sentire, to feel, feeling together, hence agreeing, giving permission, a sense, evolution that apparently took place in France before the word reached English. Related, consented, consenting. I've just read out the verb, now the noun of consent. 13th century again, approval, voluntary acceptance of what is done or proposed. Also agreement in sentiment, unity in opinion, from Old French consenter, from consentire, agree, comply, from Latin again, consentire, agree, accord, literally feel together, from assimilated form of com, with together, see consentire, to feel. In Middle English, sometimes in a negative sense, yielding to sinful desire, connivance. Age of consent at which one's consent to certain acts is legally valid is attested from 1650. So that's the verb and the noun of the word consent. Right guys, so the first thing you see when we're looking at the word consent, it screamed out to us, it's the word
Con.
So we've always got to ask, and a lot of people talk about they need our consent to do anything. It's like an unwritten rule of the universe that they need to get our consent for anything. And that's why, because we're sovereign beings, it's said that they need our consent to do shit to ourselves, basically. But could it be the spell consent? Could it be a
Con.
Just look at the word, and this is what I was going to start with. This is not the wow that I found. This is just basically looking at the word consent, and what screams out at you straight away is the word con. Could it just be all
Con.
a con? What does a con mean? Persuade someone to do or believe something by lying to them. I conned him into giving me your home number. So could they be conning us with the use of the spell into giving something of us? And we'll see it when we're looking into the etymologies of these words and what we just saw from the etymologies from what they say consent means. It's true. They're conning us into giving us giving them our permission. It's crazy, isn't it? But that's just what really got me. And this is what I wasn't originally going to start with. Could this consent of they need our cosmic consent, they need our worldly consent, because we're sovereign beings, be an actual con? They don't need our permission. It's just think out loud. It's not a fact. I'm not saying it's this. I'm just, you know what I mean? You have to watch what you say with people, because they take it literally. When I do a video, I just look at different words, different meanings, and just show you them. I don't necessarily believe, but I like to give people options, and there's loads that I miss. So could the con and consent mean they're basically conning us in for us, giving us our spiritual energy, whatever you want to say it, because people believe in different things. So let's carry on. Obviously, con comes from cons. It's a plural, an instance of deceiving or tricking someone. The charter is a glossy public relations con. Origin, confidence, con. Late 19th century abbreviation of confidence, as in confidence trick. Obviously, further down you got different ones. A con, a disadvantage or argument against something. Borrowers have to weigh up the pros and cons of each mortgage offer. Comes from origin Latin contra, meaning against. So it is pretty interesting when you start looking deep at the word, isn't it? Consent. And so far we've got a con, tricking, duping, and you've got against. And then you've got a third one here, a convict. You don't snitch it to the prison authorities or another con. Think about it. Not long did a video talking about cells in our body. And we're talking about consent. Are we prisoners? Because people talk about, but feel like prisoners. We're in purgatory. We're in a zoo. We're like the animals. Number 4. This is archaic version. Study attentively or learn by heart a piece of writing. And it comes from can, con. So con, variants of can. So then now you've got con, meaning can also. Con and can. It's intriguing when you just look at the words and just see how differently they go for. They go to. 5th, noun, informal, a convention, especially one for enthusiasts of science fiction and fantasy literature and films. A convention. Then you have a nautical. We talk about maritime law, rules of the sea, the currency, and it's a direct steering of a ship. He hadn't conned anything bigger than the Boston whaler. And again, Latin conducere, Old French conduire, English conned, English conduce, con. So you can just see there's so many things. It's just coming from the word con. And I just ask that question when you see a lot of people talking about they need our consent because we're sovereign beings. What if we don't need our consent? It's all a con. It's a ruse. It's a trick. It's to deceive. Or is that the part of the action? They're deceiving an action to get something from us. Because if you look at the other word, send, so you've got con and sent. I've broken it down into 2. Sent actually comes from send, and the root of send is mit, M-I-T. Sound mit, commit. I know commit as an E, but how you say it, you don't say comet, you say comet. So it's funny how both together talks about a comet. Mit also shows up in many words, like emit, E-M-I-T, which is time backwards. Dismiss, because mit also shows up as miss, M-I-S-S. And it also comes from the Middle English senden, which means dispatch as a messenger or an errand or an order or a cause to go or pass. That is miss, sent and senden, which all come from the one word sent. So you can see how consent is an intriguing word, more than I actually thought, because it's talking about conning, fleecing, duping, nautical terms, talking about being against. And that is just the basic split of C-O-N and then sent. So hopefully you've enjoyed that. And what I'm going to come up with now, or in a minute, just blew me away. Because it's really, really deep. Right, guys. So a little clue before a deep dive. I always deep dive. And it's Genesis 6:4. It's one of the most famous quotes. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men, which were old men of renown. Now, if you want to watch a video on the old men of renown, from my point of view, I include the word etymology for serpent. Please check out my video, The Giants, Old Men of Renown. I'll put the link in the description. Check it out, you'll really enjoy it. So back to this. This is the clue. The etymology that I found when I've broken down consent talks about giants. That to me is wow. Is it the reason we are classed as sovereign? Are we from the old men of renown? Because obviously renown doesn't necessarily mean giants. It means a lot of things like famous, celebrity, popular, done great deeds, all things like that. Or it could be we were from giants. So it's intriguing, isn't it? And this is a little clue because I'm going to get into it now. They actually how I broke it down. I split it in half. I've gone con or cons and ent, and you'll be wowed what I found, because it's wowed me. But you know what I'm like when I find things. I get really excited. So here we go, guys. We're splitting it down: con or cons, and obviously ent, ent. It'll blow your mind. It's blew my socks off, and any hair follicles that I did have. So Latin con comes from cum, meaning to be with. So that's why you've got pictures of sperm. Gives you an idea what's to come. The word ent was taken from the Old English ent or eaten, meaning giant. Is that not blowing your mind? Also, it comes from the word ant also. So it's meaning giant. That's why I give you that clue. So does con or cons sense or cons ent mean come with giants. Now, is this then talking about what we've just been talking about in that verse? Remember? The verse says, when the sons of God came in the daughters of men. Consent, or as I've said, cons ent, with come of with giant. Is this word they're getting the word consent from originally? It blows my mind, and I've got a few other things to come with this as well. So this is just the first round, but just look at it. The word cons ent, meaning to be with a giant. Is this talking about the old men of renown? There you go, guys. That's what I've just been talking about. The word forming element, usually meaning with, together, from Latin com, archaic form of classical Latin, come, together, together with, in combination, from pi, come, beside, nearby with. Hence why I was saying with, coming with giants. So what's interesting me is I've just found some more words for con, for obviously cons or con ent. So I'm keeping the giants because I just think that's wow. And here we go. So if you scroll down, you'll see some other things that make you go and we love going because it gets the brain flowing. So etymology from Middle English, as I mentioned before, connen, conmen or conan, to know how. The Proto-European Germanic konanon, from Proto-Indo-European gne, whence know. Right, but look underneath. The verb con, to study or examine carefully, especially in order to gain knowledge of. And we're talking about giants. Could con ent or consent or cons ent mean the study and examine of giants to gain knowledge of. That is another wow. Number 2, rare or obsolete, to know, understand, acknowledge. Giants are rare and obsolete. And they're talking about the study of them in the word con. Tell me, it's just not wow. Another etymology, abbreviation of Latin contra, against. Is this talking about the battle against giants? So you can see why I'm really excited about just looking at the word cons ent. From seeing people going around in protests saying we do not consent, showing you a different form of what consent means. It's talking about examining, studying giants. Or could it be talking about as I've just showed you. From Latin con, from cum, being with. And also beside or nearby with. So is this talking, as I've been showed in the last picture, of this time in his story of when the giants, the men of renown, or the Nephilim, whatever you people want to call them, the time when the fallen came down and came with the daughters of men. I just think this is intriguing and mind-blowing, and wow, from just looking at a word completely different. Again, as I always say, does not mean this is fact. It just means it's just my interpretation and how I've broken up the word. Consent. I've broken us in half. Consent. And it just, wow, guys. Tell me your mind's not blown like me. It just gets you thinking, doesn't it, of all the possibilities. So does consent mean to be with, or lay with giants, in reference to the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men and getting that consent? Or is it talking about that other bit, to study the rare obsolete giants of the past? Either way, it's an intriguing interpretation and split down of the word consent from what we perceive it to be, obviously from parades and marches, and we do not give our consent. So hopefully, guys, you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please like, share and subscribe, and also if you can, please follow the link on Buy Me a Coffee, and whatever you can there, it really does help, and I appreciate everyone that has so far. Much love and appreciation, guys, but primarily like, share and subscribe. Take care, see you soon.